Let's talk about the semester project. This is a big component of this course. It's really a sort of a keystone. And I really like this type of project in that it gives you the opportunity to really go much more in depth on a particular topic that I hope will be of interest to you. You know, hopefully by now you've watched my video, my introduction, and how I got involved in this whole area. And I got involved in the area because I had an interest in trying to go faster in triathlon, and that led me down a path that ultimately got me to here. And I wanted to understand the science behind it, and that's what I hope to get you on that path as well. Is you pick a topic, you pick a question, and then you go down looking for the science to try to answer that question. Now, what you'll find, as I have found, because I am many years later, I am probably still asking some of the same questions I asked back in the 80s about how to go faster. And it's not easy. It's not easy to understand human performance. It's not easy to understand factors that allow someone to train injury-free and ultimately perform well. There's lots of things that can influence performance and training. So that's the fun of it, though. I'm trying to tease that out. And so this project is really built around that theme of picking something of interest and then doing a deep dive on that topic. This class is biomechanics of endurance performance. So you got to keep coming back to, are you focusing your semester project on biomechanics? Some of you have an interest in nutrition, some in athletic training, some in exercise physiology, some in motor control, motor behavior. That's fantastic. And I really want to encourage and support that interest in that specialization. But that being said, this is biomechanics. And so what I want us to do, and this is a challenge sometimes, is keep coming back and making sure that you're focusing your project on the material that we're covering. Now, some of you also are not always interested in endurance performance, and maybe you're interested in, power events, strength training, or sprint events. Those are fantastic events too. This class is focused on endurance performance. And what I want to do, and you'll see this in some of the other videos that I talk about the course, is really make sure that we're doing the deep dive on understanding endurance performance. And so even though some of the projects that you could do can focus in on strength training or plyometrics, something along that line, make sure that you're still coming back and touching on biomechanics of endurance performance. Okay, that's what these projects should be focused on. All right, now, the purpose of the semester project is to allow you to study a specific topic in depth as it relates to the course material, okay? Biomechanics of endurance performance. Task, you will prepare and submit a 3-minute video presentation on a specific question that relates to endurance performance. 3 minutes, okay? And you're like, oh yeah, no problem, I'll do 3 minutes. I'll wait until week 14 to do it, right? No. Trying to pull in the right amount of information in a 3-minute video is not easy, and it will take some work. And what you may actually struggle with is keeping it at 3 minutes, and that you'll find a lot of good information to try to go through and try to pull it together in that constraint of a 3-minute video. Why 3 minutes? Well, I don't know. It's not 4. It's not 2. It's short enough that people will watch it. And so really what my goal, my secret goal here is to get some of you to do some great projects that we can then share with the community members and say, hey, this student just did a presentation on this question, and I think you'll enjoy watching it. It might help you with your training. And so think about this idea that I would take your YouTube link and I would post it on the Las Vegas Tri Club. That's the audience that you're trying to prepare your video for. Okay, and that's something to really keep in mind, is that the focus of your presentation is for general audience who is training for an endurance event. Okay, and more, mostly triathlon, half iron, sprint, iron distance, any of those are fine. All right. But that's what you're going to do. Now, what we're going to do throughout the semester is build the components that you need to have in that presentation, because I am going to require you to make sure that you have built your answer to whatever question you're asking on empirical information, evidence-based information. All right. Anecdotes, which we'll talk about. Anecdotes are important. Anecdotes are stories. Anecdotes are me telling you what works for me in terms of going faster or longer or what have you. But that's an anecdote. Experiments are published data, and those are really the foundation for trying to move and improve our understanding of endurance factors that influence endurance performance. Okay. So throughout the semester, we'll be doing those semester project assignments, and every week you'll be doing something to build your presentation. So by the end of the semester, it will just naturally come together. Required elements: a 3-minute video. Intended audience is people who are training for endurance events. The video should incorporate an answer based upon empirical evidence. Now, what I will require is that you have 2 empirical evidence research manuscripts. Okay, we'll talk about this in another video, but these will be peer reviewed, they will be published. They will not be from lay magazines. This is a special type of paper, and there's another video on how to make sure that you're looking at peer-reviewed data and manuscripts. Also going to be required to highlight 2 biomechanical concepts or terms. Which 2? You can go to the biomechanics terminology list and pick any 2, or as you are doing your reading, you may actually find that you naturally identify 2 biomechanical terms that you want to make sure that you're going to focus in on. Okay, so again, that will help us stay focused on biomechanics for your 3-minute presentation. There will be weekly assignments, as I mentioned, and several times in this video and other videos. We'll build the project as we go along. So it'll be important that you're getting those assignments done. Same deduction as assignments in general. A quarter of your points are lost for every day. I'll post these on Monday, and they'll be due Friday. So I'm trying to just keep things moving along. Just like we're training for an endurance event, we would do a little bit every day, every week. You're going to approach this the same way. Graduate students, I'll talk about this in a little different way in a separate video, but you'll have specific graduate student meetings. And I've got collaboration with a question mark there. I almost wanted to build in a requirement that you collaborate with your colleagues, your peers, and help each other with your projects. So I got it as a question mark because we may try to do something in that avenue. And the reason for that is, and everyone should know, one, I hate group projects. Group, why? Because it's so hard to work with other people. But there is a huge value in having a group of people that you talk to, and you get different perspectives. You get different insights from each person based upon their experience or their knowledge. And there's a huge value in doing that. And in fact, as you start looking at peer-reviewed papers, you are likely not find any papers where there's only one author listed. You might find a couple, but almost every peer-reviewed paper will be multiple authors. That's a group project. And so what you end up really understanding as you get deeper and deeper into kinesiology and exercise science in general is there's value in surrounding yourself with other people who have an interest in the same topics that you have, but maybe different perspectives. And there's a lot of value in exchanging ideas with each others and ultimately reviewing each other's work. And that helps develop a better product. All right. Now, so that's why I've always included group projects in this class. But the challenge is trying to form a group remotely and getting to where we can have good dialogue in a group where you may not know each other. And that is a little bit harder. And everyone's schedules are a little bit different right now with this remote nature. So still trying to adapt. But that's why what we will do is we will, in essence, do a group discussion for any project that is focused on swimming. We'll get everyone together and just sort of chat. Same thing with anyone who has a project focused on running, biking, or more broadly, triathlon. And so we will have 3 meetup days, sessions, where we will, in essence, do group discussion. And that's how I've sort of found this middle ground, and we'll see how it works, that I really want to encourage each of you to talk with each other as you're developing your projects. And if you form your own group, people that you may already know, that's fantastic. Or you might actually form a group as we have these sessions that you find commonality, and then you can work with each other. At the end of the day, you got to turn in your project. Okay. All right. Now, learning objectives. What are we doing? Well, really important to be able to distinguish between anecdotal and empirical information. Really important. And I'll talk more about that as we go along. Anecdotes are important. We need those. It's good to understand them. But as a student in kinesiology, you need to understand the science behind understanding endurance performance in this case. And so you need to understand the empirical information. And so we're going to really talk about primary sources of information and published in peer-reviewed journals. Why are we doing this? Well, I also want to make sure that we're building the skills where we are applying biomechanical terms and concepts to understand a specific question. So remember, I've got 2 terms or concepts that I want you to focus on in that 3-minute video. And why 2? Well, because that you'll find that that's probably plenty to focus in on. I don't want to throw everything within that 3-minute video. I want you to really have a focused answer and apply 2 tools, 2 concepts, 2 terms in understanding endurance performance. And I want to encourage innovation. I want to not get us just to be thinking the way authors think in papers that they write, or the way that I think based upon my experiences and my reading and the projects I've done. I want you to be innovative. People will call that critical thinking, what have you. But I want you to absorb all this information that we're going over and then toss it around and then come up with something unique based upon your thoughts and your insight. Criteria for success: complete all the weekly assignments on time, produce a video that provides an answer to the question based upon empirical evidence, emphasizes biomechanical terms, includes innovation, and I should have added a 4th here. I'll do that now. Focused on endurance performance. I don't need to bold that. Okay, focused on endurance performance. Now, I've got this other highlight right here. A key to success is to pick a topic you find interesting. If you don't like it, it's going to be painful. And so I've got questions identified. You can pick one of those questions, or if you don't like any of those questions and you happen to have a question, you can propose that one. And one of the assignments that we'll do is you'll submit the question that you're going to try to answer, and that'll probably be by week 3. Now, just make sure that you're on a good path with the question. All right. Pick something interesting. Pick something that you want to do a deep dive on. And hopefully I've got some questions here that you can go through and maybe pick from, or you can create your own question. Now, in the past, and if you've taken a class with me before, I've only allowed one group per question. And I'm not putting any restriction on that, given that we're doing individual projects. So if everybody picked this first question, and we had 60 people focusing on stroke rate for swimming, that's fine, okay? That actually would be a really neat session at that point, because I would be really interested to see all the different information that you all found on the same question. Instead, my sense is I listed all these questions. We'll get a good distribution of different types of questions. And I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to focus in on an area that you might really be interested in. So I've got some swimming questions, I've got some biking questions, I've got some running questions, and I've got some more broad triathlon questions. I'll have a separate video later on going through each of these questions and why they're important and where the biomechanics shows up. Interestingly, the majority of these questions here I could also use for the other class, KIN 457 or 657, in physiology of endurance performance. The trick with this class and this project is to take this question and just have a biomechanics focus. So we're going to answer these questions from a biomechanist's perspective. All right, so what I want you to do is look at these questions, start seeing if one zeroes in, that you zero in on a particular question. If you don't like any of them, you can go to other endurance topic, go to Las Vegas Tri Club and look at what questions people are asking in the real world about triathlon, how to get better, how to get faster, how to go further, right? Or other social media platforms. Right? Should be fun. Should be something we enjoy working towards, and hopefully complements the material that we're covering in class and lecture. All right, so I've got a rubric here. You go through the rubric. Let me zoom out. Go through the rubric. You want to be in this column right here. Okay. You want to be exceptional. Right? You want to be exceptional. Make sure you do some of the checkbox types of things. Make sure you have 2 peer-reviewed primary sources. Make sure you've identified 2 key concepts that you're going to focus in on. Make sure you've got definitions, equations, and units where appropriate. All right. Some of those are nuts and bolts. Appropriate use of time. They're shooting for 3 minutes, not 10 minutes, not 30 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes, not 1 minute, not 30 seconds. All right, 3 minutes is what you're shooting for. How far off 3 minutes? I don't know. It's not. 3:30 is fine. 2:50. All right. Well, we want to be right around 3 minutes. Quality presentation. I don't expect professionally produced videos, but I expect you to do a good job and that it's watchable. People can hear it, people can see the video. And we'll talk about how to actually do the video recording as we get deeper into the semester. And I want you to provide a meaningful answer, okay? Something that you've thought about, something that you're basing on empirical evidence. Okay, so semester project should be fun, and we will work on this throughout the semester. And before you know it, we'll be at week 14, and we'll be wrapping it up. All right, thanks everybody.